Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for staying tuned. This is Smart 24 TV, and we drive your business. Remember, we are your number one business channel and focusing on business 24 hours, 7 days a week. And today we are talking the export industry of Uganda, and I am with Mr. Deo Chomia from the Uganda Free Zones Authority. Now, Mr. Chomia, for a while, and why we still have such schemes coming up is the fact that we are still a net importer. And we understand this has quite adverse effects. And I know some of those you can share with us. But in your own perspective, what is the cost of Uganda actually being a net importer? And why do we need to come out of that situation?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. What I would want people to understand is that the biggest creation of importation, the biggest problem with importation is that you are actually creating jobs for another economy. Importation means that you will have the country manufacturing goods. They will use their raw materials, they will use their people, they will use their skills and give you a product that you will sell here. Okay? Now, why we really need to get away from importation is that not necessarily because we need revenue in terms of tax. The net effect of manufacturing domestically is that you create jobs for your own society. So once you create jobs, it means consumption is going on. And by consumption, it means tax and revenue. Okay? Secondly, technology. The more you produce is the more you understand and innovate within products. Now, the more you innovate, the more you skill your own society. Now, once you skill, and you know what the effects of technology and growth in economies, once you manufacture in your own country, that skill is impacted within your own people. And that means you're going to develop a skill and also the innovation levels within your country improve. Last but not least, foreign exchange currency. Once a person is an importer, what this means is that whatever foreign currency you have within your country, that person takes it away and purchases from another country. So the other country takes your foreign currency and gives you a product. So at the end of the day, like how they are now describing it, you become a supermarket. Someone just comes, picks your money, takes it to their site, they get value, they get income, they get technology, then gives you a product. But what happens to the people? Now imagine if we turn that around, that instead it's us who are producing these goods and sending them over. The three benefits will come. Now, that's the core. But remember, once you start manufacturing, it means that you're going to improve your infrastructure. You'll have to build roads for these goods to build. You'll need ships. Yeah? You will need technology to supervise. All that infrastructure also creates jobs, revenue, tax, and skills. So the effect of all this is that once we focus on export growth, then even your little farmer in the village you come from, the price of that product that they are selling to a middleman will go an inch higher. And then there will be income for him. Income which he will then spend, and then a 360 will also give you the revenue and the growth. So it's not about just taxes. It's about making sure that your local economy gets the capability to spend. Now, once the economy is spending, then you'll get revenue. And once there's money for revenue, then you get infrastructure. Once the infrastructure is there, a country develops. It is the understanding of this. And that's why we need to critically look at this export growth scheme compared to allowing people to dump in our country.
Well, now looking at what the free zones have so far done, in 2021 alone, you had about 1.1 billion US dollars worth of exports. That's at least 3.8 trillion shillings. And you're seeing different products, gold, you're seeing cocoa, tobacco contributing to some of these. And like you say, we are an agricultural country with over 60% of our GDP contributed to by agriculture. Moving forward now, what sectors or what products, if you've seen actually specific products, should we have comparative advantage over, and we should cling on to those products?
As we stand as Uganda, I think the core of our production is agriculture. Anything that adds value to agriculture produce is really up there. Now, as a free zones, yes, I know we deal, there's so many products in there. But if we are to go in terms of sectors, we clearly understand that our focus is agriculture. We have incidences of other minerals, but that we are moving away from. But it is still something that the economy, and that is moving into the Ministry of Energy and Minerals that is licensing that. Now, how do we come in to help? And the thing is this, a kilogram of coffee, for example, roasted coffee in Asia is almost $50 US. The export price of coffee in Uganda is $19. The farmer in the village that plants that coffee, is less than, I think, $3. Now, if, for example, we get societies of farmers, they add this coffee together, we process it here. It means we already uplifting to $19. Okay? Now imagine if we are doing it final product, becomes 50. Now imagine a scenario that everything that leaves Uganda is living at 50. Then it means that the income will also cascade down. Now, we are generally farmers. And we have seen that all these products are needed around the world. What is needed is how do we value, how do we meet standards, how do we manage pests, and sanitary measures. How do we get those things done so that the market is ready? Then after we've done that, how do we maintain presence in there? Yeah? Because it's also not just enough about getting me a kilogram every day. Can you supply a kilogram every other day of the year? But as we stand right now, focus is how do we get our goods to add value, to be added on value, and then how do we access markets? That's the core. And our core products in free zones are clearly the core. It's by core I mean what we drive. We do not stop other products, but our core is agriculture because Uganda is 80% agriculture.
Talking about value addition, that's been a very huge topic of discussion, and many people have come up to understand it in different ways. Let's get to really understand the level of value addition we are talking about. Because, for example, matoke, we know we can get so many things. We can get powdered matoke, we can make biscuits. I've seen people make biscuits out of matoke. What level of value addition should we get to as a country, especially concerning our agricultural products? Because we have fresh products coming from Uganda and they are loved all over the world. We have organic agricultural products that are highly priced also. They are not much, processed and so on, but they are loved in their organic nature, So to what extent should we really add value to our agricultural products?
As we stand, I wouldn't want to give it a percentage or something. But we need to develop the final manufactured product.
So if it's coffee, it has to come out as Nescafe?
Yes.
Okay.
We need to have those brands. We need to develop brands for our own goods.
Okay.
We need to have a scenario where the banana, if, for example, you're buying in a UK supermarket, you'd want a place to go to a supermarket and find it the Ugandan banana, the Ugandan pineapple.
Okay.
Yes. That will be value addition as well because you've branded it, you've given it a name, and everyone knows. The price will also go up. But the ideal also, I would also want juice made in Turkey. Yeah? I would want a brand made of juice from Matoke. I would want the pineapple juice in the world that's selling it. Okay. Now, development will not come at a go. Yeah? Even all these brands that we are seeing now did not start in one. Our thinking is that let's move slowly. For some, we shall get short wins. You will have a product and it will be running immediately. Right? For other scenarios, we shall add a level of value. For example, if I'll give you, like I've said, Matoke. If, for example, the guys in Bushenyi are now making biscuits, we can sell the biscuits as Toke biscuits, right? So that's value addition. But then we also know the world needs bananas. You can't run away from that. And we know the Americans are selling bananas to them. Imagine if we capture that market and now also have Ugandan Toke. There's value because there's a brand to it, there's a name to it. Now, the level of value addition may not will work sector to sector. Okay, and I've heard of my colleagues who say substitution, for example. Now we have oranges here, but people still make soda from they import the concentrate from a different country. For me, the shortest win there would be, for example, at this time, if we could replace the concentrate we import from America or China with Ugandan-made concentrate. That's the value. If, for example, then we develop further, then the concentrate then will also become a brand that we call a Uganda. Then we shall sell it. The game is not about percentages of what value are you. No, at the end of it all, the purpose is the individual Ugandan. What's the benefit to you? Yeah, we need to cascade this economy to them. Now, you will not cascade the economy from a farmer and say, because you're producing that, okay, we expect you to have a soda. No. Value addition to him will be, for example, teach him how to handle his produce for export, teach him how to brand, sell, so that the value that it takes to his pocket increases. Then gradually we shall end up developing these brands that people will consume and they like. And that will be the epitome. Okay? That is what we always want to. You find a brand, you go to a shelf anywhere, and 80% of the market share is Ugandan brand. It is the ideal, but we need to build. Yeah.
Talking about now the current free zones that we have in Uganda, have the Ugandans embraced them? Have people started really getting to understand? Because personally, I'm very sure there are many Ugandans who don't know about this, and they would probably want to know. So, what level of sensitization have you done to see that you extend this scheme to as many Ugandans as possible?
Okay. We have been doing awareness. However, we need to also remember that the last 3 years have limited movement. So before COVID came, there was a strong program on awareness. We have met sectors, the small scale industries, we met manufacturers, we met horticulture people, and gradually we've been interacting and drawing this awareness, Casita and the groups. However, the last 3 years, because of COVID, the limitation of movement, travel abroad, domestic travel, and everything, there was a slowdown. We have since gone back, and I can say this financial year, for example, we have met manufacturers, we've met small-scale industries, groups from them, dealt with the private sector of Uganda to meet private sector people. We have also met individual groups of investors from out that come in. Now, the level of awareness we have is a little bit focused because, like resources are scarce. We look to people that we think the benefit of a free zone will deliver highly. It is expected that once with this continued opening up of the economy, that gradually there also the listenership or the request for these are going to continue. And we expect that by the end of the next 2 years, we should be able to have covered the whole country regionally, doing business forums and meeting individual groups within those areas. As of now, we are doing focus because resources are scarce, and we are also understanding that money does not like noise. Yeah, we would like the awareness to go as much as we can, but because of the resource envelope, not reach the scale that would amuse everyone. But it is ongoing.
Okay, now let's talk about the operators and managers and the licenses. Let's start with the operator. If I want to be an operator, and I understand this is the person actually doing the business in the free zone area, what are some of the criteria I have to fulfill and the cost of that license?
Okay. Well, I already talked to the requirements. What I think I need now to bring down out is the cost.
The cost, yes.
The application cost is $250. So for you to apply for a free zone license, you'll have to pay $250.
About 800,000.
Yes, around 800 because it's 3. Then after you pay the license, your papers will be processed and sent for Mr. Trade. Now, a license,
that is regardless of the size of your business.
Regardless, it's just the application.
The application,
yes.
Okay.
Now we do what we call annual licenses. We charge $1,000 annually for a license. However, in the beginning of the first term you apply, you pay for 5 years in advance, and then the license will be reviewed annually. So it means that the first year you start, you will pay $5,000 and $250. That is what is required from free zone. There is no other cost. And this, I just need to put a disclaimer. That is only for the free zone. Sometimes, depending on the sector you're operating, there are subsidiary costs that you may get.
From the regulators?
Yes, from the regulators.
Okay.
But for the purposes of free zones, the application fee is $250. Once you give us the requirements I talked to earlier, and then the $5,000 for the beginning, and then after the 5 years, you will continue paying $1,000 annually.
Yes. And then the managers license?
The cost is all the same.
It's the same for all the operators.
Yes, but once you apply for a developer's license, you automatically qualify for the operator.
Oh.
Yeah, but the operator will specifically apply for operator license.
Let's talk about the tech sector. You wrote it out very well that you need to embrace technology, science, and innovation. Have there been any incentives for these sectors in particular? Because we've seen currently on the Science, Technology and Innovation Day, Kira is doing great stuff there for Uganda with electric cars. We've seen other innovators come on board, especially in the tech space. Have you created some incentives for them, or actually are they also part of the free trade zone?
Well, like I said, the scheme right now has been focused on free zones.
Okay.
We are now moving in what we call special economic zones. Now,
those are covering wider,
and the sectors also increase.
Okay.
Now, the tech is tech, as in the innovations every second. As we're speaking now, there's another innovation. We do not have a general incentive scheme saying this is specific to only tech. No.
Okay.
Once you join the scheme, it is clear, the incentives are clear. However, depending on your businesses, it may need for you to discuss some of these needs. And for me, what I know about tech, it's not only the incentive, it's actually more of the infrastructure. Yeah? Provide the infrastructure, people will innovate. Now, for us going into free economic zones, if we do an IT hub or an IT special economic zone, it means that we shall provide, clearly these days it's the internet, storage, yeah, and working environment. Yeah, those we are promised that we will clearly provide. Yeah, we are not yet there, but we are going there. So the incentives generally will be the same, but you need to take care sector per sector. The needs may be different. For example, if for example a person is manufacturing, the incentives may be on tax may be greatly needed. But if someone's in tech, the cost of internet is important. Yeah, the cost of storage of data is important. So you need to also, we also go back and resegment and focus on investors, depending on the type of economic zone there. Yeah.
So as we draw close to the end, what of course we've seen in the last 5 years, you had a 5-year strategy, 2015 to 2020. Yes, and now we are going for the next 5 years. What are you looking forward to, especially in the export industry of Uganda as the Uganda Free Zone Authority? We are presently, thank you for reminding me, we actually in the 3rd year of our strategic plan. The review is this coming year. And what we are clear of is that the focus is moving in providing infrastructure that facilitates export growth. Because we are also resource scarce, we don't work in isolation. We also think that the last 2 years that are remaining will focus more on resource mobilization because, like we all know, the priorities are too many, the funds are less. So we also think that we may have to search or get new sources of revenue to be able to set up these things. We also plan that bigger and more sizable public free zones will be developed in the next 2 years. Yes. Wow, thank you so much. And before we close, of course, people would want to know where they can find you in case they want to get information on the free zones. And, for example, people like traders who are looking at being part of that space. Where can they find help?
Well, we are located on 6th floor, Communications House. Our communications house is in the CBD next to Christ the King Church and opposite Schumacher building.
Yes.
On the 6th floor. It is open Monday to Friday. We also do run social media accounts, Free Zones on Twitter, Facebook. We have an active website with the helpline. Please contact us at any time. There's someone that will reply you. And always feel the offices are always open. The walk-in is not refused. Please, we are welcome. And we're interested to see people asking. So please contact us. My number is 0772 721 319. Please contact us for any business, not necessarily only free trade zones or free special economic zones, anything that is trade related, any advice or any help that you may need. We are there to facilitate.
And I think information is quite important in this era and age. Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Deo Chomia, for the time and for talking to us and sharing your insights.
Thank you as well.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We've been talking to Mr. Deo Chomia from the Uganda Free Zones Authority. Had issues concerning the free zones and how they're providing different Ugandans with opportunities to be a part of the export industry of Uganda. The law states that if you're to be part of the free zones in Uganda, you must export at least 80% abroad. That is outside the East African region, and it's something very important for you to understand. But you still have the 20% which you can preserve for the domestic market. The value, of course, here is the fact that we are increasing our exports and reducing on our imports, which will in return create opportunities back home. My name is Anthony and I am your host. You've been watching The Point. Thank you very much for sparing time. I'll catch you same time, same place next time. Bye for now.